Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real G Football. Once again, I am beside my guy, Prince Sosa. Sosa, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing better now that you call me Prince Sosa. I'm gonna tell you that much. I still love the name.
I like it. I think it suits you well. Now,
Yeah.
Sosa, we gotta talk about their Klassiker. This is the match I've been waiting for pretty much all year. It's a big decider, not just though for Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. I think it can really affect a lot of other teams potentially. But this derby has been mostly won by Bayern. It actually dominated by Bayern, to be honest with you. Out of the last 5 times these teams have met, Bayern has won 4 of them, and every one of those wins, they've dominated. I think the last time Dortmund won was the first game with Lucien Favre, and they only won 3-2. Obviously, that's still a win. A win's a win, and they did a good job in that game. They kept it much closer, but it was not as convincing as some of the other times. Bayern has really battered Dortmund, and they're right behind them. I believe they're 4 points behind them. So this is really huge. Obviously, everybody's still in that chase. In this matchup here, who do we favor, and what can we expect in this one?
Okay. I think, like you said, 4 out of 5, Bayern has won, but not in one of either of those 5 games did they have Haaland. Haaland is a game changer. So I think Dortmund is going to win. It's probably going to be a tight matchup. It's going to be 2-1. We said it earlier. They're not playing pretty football, but they still can't get results. So we don't know what type of Bayern we're going to see. But I know what type of Dortmund we're going to see. Dortmund's been playing great, like you said, though, but it's going to be tough because they, like you said, right? Earlier, we were talking about earlier, they like to use counterattack for Haaland, and that's where we think he's used best, like you and I. I agree with you there when you said that. So we're going to see if Bayern is trying to use the counter on them, right? Let Dortmund have possession, and then they hit the counter. So it's going to be really fun to see. But this also has big implications on Leipzig, right? Leipzig is like 7 points behind, so they could be 4 points behind, and they still have a game to be played between those 2 teams. So it really can go either way, right? So I don't know. I think if Bayern wins this game, though, I think Bayern's going to win the league. But if Dortmund wins this game, or at least ties the game, I think there's still a chance for Dortmund to somewhat come back and win the league.
I think we should talk about that. I think when I look at this game, I think we're kind of onto something there with like the counterattack being the best thing for them. In the last game, I believe it was at the Allianz Arena with fans, mind you. So I don't know how that's going to affect. Maybe the travel going all the way up to Dortmund might hurt them. I don't think so. Maybe, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to affect them nearly as bad as it normally would in a normal circumstance. But I think based on who's been playing the more cleaner football, I kind of like Borussia Dortmund in that way, but I just think Bayern is so good, man. And I never want to get my hopes up about Borussia Dortmund. I never do it. I really do. I do. The club has a special place in my heart because when I started watching football, they were one of the most exciting teams I've ever seen. And they have a lot of aspects to them that I just love. And obviously right now with so many great players like Sancho, Haaland, Royce, there's so many great players on the team. But I think, the one problem that they've had and struggled with against certain teams is they are a possession team, but a lot of times against the better possession teams, they really can't keep possession. They counterattack really well. But in the last one, Bayern never even let them out of their own half, like their own third, realistically, their own box almost. They were surrounded. They were swarming them. They were counter-pressing them so well, cutting off all the passing lanes, not letting them get the ball back, and then they just keep like banging the goals in and making life rough and miserable for Roman Bürki, who's a great keeper who can get really frustrated when his team has let him down a lot of times this season. And I do think there's some issues there. I think, though, ultimately, you're right. Haaland might be a bit of a factor, and maybe we'll see something that, like, maybe Bayern won't be really prepared for that. They've actually been very leaky at the back, and I think if Dortmund can really get the transition going, they can really hurt them. But if they can't get out of their third, I think it's over. I think that they're gonna work them pretty badly. Now, if we think about it, though, let's say maybe even if it's just a draw, does a draw or a Dortmund win favor the rest of the league, the Leipzigs, the Mönchengladbach, the Leverkusen? I think personally, I think that if Dortmund draws with Bayern, I think that's actually better for the whole league, because you're just kind of slowing them down a little bit, because you can't let Dortmund get too much of a lead either. I think the one thing though in that is, I guess, that you could argue both Bayern and Dortmund both have pretty tough schedules. Dortmund still has Leipzig at the second last game of the season. That might be tough. And with these games starting to ramp up in the closeness of them, right? Having to travel so much within days, you can still get jet lag. That doesn't change anything, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think maybe a draw actually helps them the most, and then that way Leverkusen and Leipzig can really get back into the race.
See, I was gonna say Dortmund has to win for it to be better for the rest of the league, because I was like, okay, it just shows that that Bayern isn't as impenetrable or as unstoppable as many teams believe to think, right? So if they show that Dortmund wins, they're gonna think Bayern's vulnerable. But like you said, that's just gonna give more momentum to Dortmund, right? This is gonna go all the way to Dortmund, and Dortmund's like, yeah, we just beat Bayern Munich. We're gonna win this league. No one's stopping us now, right? So at first I was gonna say Dortmund winning, but like you said, now that you said that a draw looks better for the other teams, I agree with you, because they both lose 2 points. Leipzig is just on their tilt. So is Leverkusen and Mönchengladbach. They're all fighting for European spots, but that doesn't really affect them because they're not really title contenders. But I agree. I think a draw is going to really dictate where the league goes.
For sure. And I think the fact that Leipzig really don't have any tough games aside from Dortmund, that's a massive, massive factor. I think the Gladbach game against Bayern, I think if they can at least hold them to a draw, that's huge. And I think that they also have another tougher game against Wolfsburg, who's obviously going to be a tough one. Even Freiburg. Freiburg is a really tough team that people always
people underrate them a lot. People underrate them a lot.
Sleep on Freiburg, man. Like that team, they could have like a 0-0 draw that'll just ruin Bayern's momentum. And that could really mess them up the rest of the season. I think that's something that we have to factor into it.
Schedule.
Who do you think, if you have to think of it this way, like the speeding up of the season, does that favor certain teams maybe based on style? I think, to be honest with you, I think it hurts Leverkusen and maybe even Leipzig a little bit, because they have a very high intensity, high energy style. And will they be able to keep that up? I mean, Leipzig, like I said, have easier games, but Leverkusen maybe not so much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another factor into this is depth. Like, you're going to need a lot of depth if you're going to be playing 3 games a week with all this traveling and all that. So, I mean, I think Dortmund's actually going to be the one that benefits from this the most, because they always had that slump, and now they're rested from COVID and all that type of stuff. So I think they're going to be able to muster out the most wins. I think with Haaland and Rafael Guerrero and Royce and Hazard, like, you can't forget about Thorgan Hazard, man. That guy's, and you got the youngsters like Gio Reyna and Hakimi and all these great players. So I think Dortmund is in the best position to win the league. I think this is their year to win the league. And I mean, you also can't forget about Bayern, right? Bayern's always Bayern. They have that depth with all the millions that they spent and all that stuff. So I agree with you. The high intensity, the lack of depth compared to the other teams that are higher than them, above them, is going to affect them the most. So I think Dortmund and Bayern are really the ones who benefit from this the most.
I think so too. I think that it really does benefit them, their ability to, rely on other players when they have to. Obviously, they do have some injury issues. I think more so Bayern than Dortmund. Dortmund's actually pretty healthy for the most part. Obviously, Marco Reus is
surprise.
So sad, man. So sad.
Another point I forgot to make too is, like, these teams are used to it, right? They play Champions League soccer. They're used to playing this, where they play a game midweek and 2 games at the weekend, right? So I think that's another factor too, right? They play the Champions League. They go to other countries. So that this jet lag and this other stuff doesn't really affect them when they go to the different time zones and different countries to play.
It's that mentality, man. It's the winner's mentality. They know what to expect, and they're going to be mentally prepared for it. Unlike Schalke has been. I don't even think we need to talk about that.
I agree.
Wow, that is crazy.
They were leading the league for a great time. I was like, whoa, this is going to be a nice title race, and then they just...
Yeah, they are not in it anymore. No more. I can't believe that, man. That's quite a fall. But we got to get to it. There was something that came out where we talked about the Liga coming back, and a former ref came out and said that 90% of La Liga officials are Real Madrid fans, The other 10%, we'll leave that aside for now.
Oh yeah. Don't mention it. Let's focus on the 90%. Let's focus on.
We'll focus on 90% right now. But I'll mention it later. But go on.
Okay, look. I'm not surprised. It's been like this. I know I'm kind of gonna go like I'm a little bit like sidetrack a little bit, but it's like this in the Champions League too, right? I think personally the VAR is because of Real Madrid in the Champions League. Bayern Munich got robbed many times. Juventus got robbed many times, and it's happening in La Liga too. There's so many offside calls that they get, the dives and all this stuff. Remember the infamous Ronaldo one against Getafe where and then he falls down? Like the memes are everywhere. So I'm personally not surprised that it's always been like this too. It's been like this in the 50s, the 60s. For people who don't know, read it. Like it's actually interesting to read about this stuff. Like with the dictator Franco, how Di Stefano was actually a Barca player. I'm not gonna get into it too much, but yeah, so like read that type of stuff. It's really interesting. But yeah, like back to this, I'm actually not surprised. Like, and also another thing too is like a lot of these fans, quote unquote fans that are the refs, Real Madrid, let's be honest, is probably the biggest club, or if not the second or the third, whatever, at least top 3 biggest clubs in the world. So there's fans everywhere.
I think it's the biggest.
Yeah, you could say that, right? I'm not gonna say that. But then I'm gonna say second biggest club in the world. Let's just leave it at that. Anyways, so like there's bound to be fans everywhere, right? Even if it's just, but as long as the refs are 50-50, right? They're not favoring Real Madrid, as long as the fans, right? Because at the end of the day, they are humans, right? They're people too. So everyone goes for a little bit of favoritism, right? But as long as the games are fair and they don't make calls that are unjust or calls that favor one team or the other during crucial games as well, right? And then it doesn't matter if they're fans or not, right? But I think still there should be an investigation, because you can't have this tarnishing your league's reputation, right? Because now people are gonna be like, why are you taking the credibility from the league if all the refs are Real Madrid fans, right? That just takes away the credibility of the league. And La Liga is really trying to be better than the Premier League, right? Like that's what everyone wants to be, better than the Premier League. And you can't have that if your refs are Real Madrid fans. So yeah.
I will say though, I have to mention it, that the last 10%. I do believe it would be hard. It would be hard to not be a Barca or Madrid.
Okay,
their whole history pretty much.
Nah, you know what I think it is, Jeff? I don't think the 10% are Barca fans. You know what it is? It's just the other 10% that hate Real Madrid so much that they're like, you know what? Let's let Barca win. You know what I mean? Because like Barca's the only team that can handle Real Madrid, and we've seen it in the last like 12, 13 leagues. We won 9 of them, 10 of them. I don't even know. I've lost count. So you know what? That's it. It's not that 10% are Barca fans. It's just that 10% hates Real Madrid so much that they find another team and they're like, you know what? Let's support them. That's what it is, Jeff.
That's probably pretty fair to be honest. I wouldn't totally disagree with that. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. And you're right, though. You're absolutely right. There should be an investigation, because when you hear that from a former ref, it's pretty scary.
It's a credible source, right? We're not talking about players saying this or an owner saying this or a president of a club saying this. We're talking about a ref who is on the inside of this. But Jeff, quick question. Do you think that ref is a Barca fan or a Real Madrid fan?
It kind of seems like he's a Barca fan.
Oh, fair enough.
But I mean, not completely biased. You know, it's really tough, man. But like you said, there should be an investigation. It should be fair, and you know that's the knock on the Liga. It's always Real Madrid and Barca. Real Madrid and Barca. It's just one or the other, and that's not entertaining to people as much as the football itself is entertaining. As much as there's great players, it doesn't matter if there's some sort of bias always lingering in your head. There's an asterisk there.
Exactly.
You feel that in the Champions League for sure. There's been multiple times where either one or the other, or another big team in general too, gets the nod, and it's not fair at all by any means. Because the thing is too, is that big clubs, big popular clubs, you know, Barca, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Liverpool, and Manchester United, I'll be honest, you know, there's going to be some bias. And that's, can't eliminate bias completely, but they transcend just your country and your city. There's fans like that everywhere. They could be, you could be a Bayern Munich fan in, you know, Ukraine. You could be a Manchester United fan in Belgium, you know, or France, right? Because sometimes those places don't have amazing teams, or maybe they associate with them better, or they see a player there, right? So it's
I agree.
Really, really tough. But you know, it hurts the credibility of football as a whole, in my eyes, because you have to like, officiating is one of the biggest things in a lot of sports, but in football in specific, especially with, you know, the supposed diving culture that's you know, it's heavily linked to.
That's what we're known for, right?
Fans, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
it's frustrating. It's frustrating to kind of have to, you know, tell people all the time, like, no, it's not always like that, or there's a reason for it, or
you know what I say? I think people, football fans love to win, and players love to win so much that they don't care what they look like, and they don't care what people say about them. Because, like, you know what? If I gotta take a dive, and people are gonna call me divers, I don't care. As long as my team gets the 3 points, or as long as my team gets the win, they don't care, right? They, like, that's how passionate we are, right? We do what we need to do to win.
I agree. I think that's pretty much what it is. Prince Sosa, once again, I want to tell you, thank you so much for coming.
I should get crowned for the next episode, shouldn't I? I should get like a
Fans, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, once again, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you later. We out, baby.